Welcome to Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jessie Ott, the host of this podcast, which is all about beverage innovation. I talk with innovation pioneers from agriculture to glass. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe to be notified of all new episodes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursdays. My name is Jessie Ott, and I have an awesome guest here today, Patricia Vasconcelos.
There you go.
Did I do it? Okay.
You did it, and with appropriate accent and all.
Way to start, Jessie. Patricia is the founder of the Paire Agency, and she's been in the industry, like me, for over 20 years. But unlike me, she is amazing in her first start. Yeah, because who sells their first brand at 27 and you sold a tequila? That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty outstanding.
Thank you. It was before Instagram, so I couldn't brag about it. So I'm going to brag about it now because
Good. This is
now.
where you're supposed to do it. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Miami, the one and only, after Miami Music Week. So I think I've put myself together and hopefully I could answer coherently. What a weekend it was.
Did you have a lot of events?
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of events. My husband's a musician too. And so
Nice.
everybody was in town from, globally. So we had a lot of meetings, events, dance parties. I went to a dance party that started at 10 a.m. and it was done by 2:30 p.m. And that was my kind of dance party. It was awesome. This guy named Austin Miller, DJ, closed it out. And it was just so memorable. And we just need to do more of those, like more events that end at 2:30 p.m. so you can be cooking dinner by 5 and asleep by 9.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say 10:30 p.m. the night before?
No. Like
You're saying
sleep
in the
all night,
morning
10:30 in the morning.
till 2:30.
So it's like a 4 or 5 hour dance party. You're in, you got
Yes.
your thing. They had coffee, they had tequila, they had breakfast burritos. They had incredible music, great sound system, and a dance party. They even had Krispy Kreme donuts. I was like, this, again, more of this. It's actually called AM radio. It's been kind of started out of LA where they have dance parties at coffee places.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
So
love
that
to
was
dance.
kind of
It's
like
so
the
fun.
highlight of my weekend, and everything else was late, but my husband did most of that. I was like, I'm good. I'm good at till 1 a.m. probably, but the whole city was alive and thriving, fireworks, music, tents.
That's
It was pretty
awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if it was 10 a.m. to 2:30 or 10:30 p.m. till 2:30 a.m. the next day, that would be memorable in itself because I would just being awake. I made
Well, I
it.
mean, that's space. That's space. You could do that. You can go to space. My girlfriend, who is sober, actually, she does and takes a bunch of sober, like people that want to just go dance. And they sleep all night. They go at 7 or 8 a.m. and then they stay till it closes. And they're totally like nothing doing. Just they're there for the music and the dancing. And it's been cool, and they have, like, a little food as well, and so it's kinda like it's a movement now, like, really, which is cool because it provides, alternative dance parties for those that just don't wanna be out there at 4 AM in the wild at night.
I really like that because I've been seeing or hearing about trends where the nightlife isn't so much anymore, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
actually
our
very
age that's
unfortunate.
doing it, isn't it?
I love the nightlife, and I think that every 20-something-year-old should really enjoy it to its fullest in the way that it should be enjoyed, and so, I mean, honestly, like, Miami and Vegas to me, just, I have pretty extensive experience, like, in nightlife and then working in brands in nightlife, and it's just sometimes you just gotta dance all night. It just sometimes you just need to do it and have it in you, and, um, but I'm glad that there are other alternatives, but, I never wanna take away from there's a lot of companies, brands that build, the foundation of just, like, some of the best times that I've ever had at night,
Yeah.
and they work really hard on it, so I want it to be enjoyed, with everybody. Everybody should enjoy it if that's what they wanna do.
Yeah, sounds like
So,
you and your husband are the perfect couple, like, you really enjoy that lifestyle and you can keep up with it.
honestly, I know they're saying nightlife maybe is not the same, but you wouldn't know that, based on this weekend and Miami Music Week
Good.
and the thousands of people. There's Ultra, and then there's, like, all these other, satellite activations everywhere, and they were all packed. So, I don't
Yay.
know. They're not it's not happening here in Miami, and I've been calling it kinda like post-COVID, the center of the world because there's so much happening here. Growth, real estate, tech, still nightlife, and if you do still wanna be out till 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 a.m., you can do it in Miami.
That's
The
great.
Miami's not going anywhere.
Oh, that's good. Some things just should never change.
No, you know what? It's something for everyone if you want to, have low alc, no alc, whatever, you can do that as well, and I think, like, the music is really what keeps everybody moving and existing and sharing, and I think that that lasts forever, right?
Yeah.
Yes, my husband is part of that, and so that's why I get to see it and feel it too, so
Yeah.
we
From
are
a different
very interesting.
perspective than most people. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So are you from Miami?
No, gosh, I was born in El Salvador. Soy salvadoreña, as, they would say, and I moved here when, like, right after as the war was going, not I don't wanna get all deep and depressing, but and my mom got remarried to an American young man at the time, and he moved us to right outside of Philadelphia, and we lived there, but I would go back and forth till I was about 16, even during the war. I always joke that, my mom won't, like, go up the New Jersey Turnpike, but she will take all her 3 kids to a war-torn country and just kinda let us hang out.
Well, she must have known where you were going was safe.
Yeah, I'm like, "Okay." I mean, it was not safe sometimes, but, I think I was too young to know at the point, and I was just following my mom, and she wanted to see her mom, and she would find, like, windows of time where it wasn't so crazy, and she would come and take all her kids, and we would stay there, and then when it got better, I would go for, like, a month or so at a time to hang out with my grandmother, and I was a teenager, and I really enjoyed that. It gave me a lot of perspective.
Hectic.
And then really grew up outside of Philadelphia. Go Eagles. Sorry.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, I
Another
had to
one.
put that in there.
Well, I'm a Chiefs fan, but my mom is from there, so from Kansas
From Philly?
City. No, 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 my mom is from Kansas
Oh,
City.
okay,
Going back to the
alright.
Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
I think no, well, I just wish, like, they've been there a few times, and, like, almost half the time they go, they get smucked. I mean, like, come on, you were
I
healthy,
know.
but
I know, I still want you to like me post this podcast, so I'm
wait,
just gonna keep it to myself. I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
I do not hold it against you. It's just it's not my favorite team, but I also live in Dallas, so there's that.
Yeah, yeah, we just hate on Dallas in general,
Yeah,
so we'll find that
exactly.
common ground.
No, it's funny is 10%, I'm gonna get a guess, but 10% of the people that I interview on this podcast have some affiliation with Philly.
Yes, it's a great
It's
town.
crazy. I don't know what's the entrepreneurial blood going on in there, the water or the food or the system,
It's a
or
little bit
I
of
don't know what
everything.
it is. It is
Honestly, I
incredible.
think Philly's extremely underrated. It's always been a foodie town. It's just maybe think people are very authentic, and so maybe they were just kind of like worried about the craft, or really that was like front and center, and it wasn't so much about like posting about it or talking about it. And so I think that it just kind of wasn't like shining like New York was or even DC. And so now it's probably just coming around, not now, but like the last, I would say 5 to 10 years, but coming around on just how special it really is. And obviously, like it gets a bad rap because of the sports fans, but it's always been very interesting from a culinary standpoint. It's always been very interesting from a cocktail standpoint. When cocktail culture first came to the United States, and obviously like New York was very much taking that, I would say like it took it over first in the US.
Yeah.
Not for LA too, but I didn't think Pennsylvania was far behind. It just wasn't in mass, right? It's always had really special places that
Just a
I
little bit of history.
yeah, and lots of history. Um, well, in general, lots of history, and I
Yeah.
think that it's just a great town. I really miss living there just for its people, right? Like, and the food.
Do you
We
get
were
back very
Yeah,
often?
yeah, I was there 2 weeks ago. I threw my mom a surprise birthday party, and we went to Reading Terminal, and we had not eaten for 24 hours before that because we wanted to go to, like, every, like,
Did it
huge,
work?
like, Reading terminals and just kinda eat our way through the Reading Terminal, and then we had dinner, and then we had the party, so we basically gained, like, anywhere from 6 to 8 pounds the last week.
It was worth every bit of
But we
it.
danced all this weekend, so we're good. Now we're
There you go.
back to normal. Yeah, I do go back a lot. I went to Penn State, like,
Okay.
I'm a big just football,
Do
like,
you
big
remember
sports.
Iowa's first game at Penn State?
I don't. I mean, I don't know what year was that. I don't know.
1996?
Uh,
97?
yeah, yeah. Okay, I mean, that was a long time ago. I don't remember that one. Were you there?
Well, yeah. So
Oh my
I went
god,
yeah, it was
amazing.
'96, I guess, because it was the election year, and I was working on Capitol Hill. Well, actually, I was working in the State Department. Ended up dating an older guy. Ended up meeting on the bus to that game because I went to the Hawkeye, club, and we
So
took a
cool.
bus, and Michael Linder, who's, a little younger than me, he went to Iowa and was actually, helped the team. Like, would give him water, and I don't
Yeah.
remember all the things, but he was part of the Iowa Hawkeye team, and I'm like, "Can it rained on us," and all that. It was kinda crappy, but we had a really good time, and, that was the first game because he just joined the conference back then, and now it's like, I don't know
Ugh,
whose conference it is, but
yeah, well, they're still Big 10, no? Or no?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penn State is, but the
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
10
yeah,
is like the Big 25 or 30 now or
yeah.
something. I
What
don't
were
know,
you
but
doing in DC? I feel like we have a similar trajectory because I was supposed to work in DC after college. And some gentleman by the name of Mike and worked at Gallo, like, met me at a career fair, and he was like, "Don't you dare go to Washington, DC to
what?
work." He's like, "You're gonna be bored most of your life." He's like, "You need to be in the alcohol industry," and literally that's how I got my start.
Well, he wasn't wrong about that. I mean, you do like the nightlife. Everything shuts down pretty early in DC.
Yeah, he was more like, "What your work?" He's like, "Unless you really wanna help the world." It was just being very sarcastic at the time, but also I feel like it was a recruiting tactic that really worked. He was like, "Why would you wanna do that?" He goes, "Come and sell wine with me, and we'll, like you could go travel, you'll taste, you'll be able to taste. This is, like, such a wonderful company." And hook, line, and sinker, I was like, "Okay, sounds
So you
good."
started working for Gallo right out of college
Right out of college.
in Philly?
No, God, no, no. That's the little part that he failed to mention, which was, "By the way, you need to go to New Hampshire and be there by yourself and work at, like, Shaw's," and so the good news was, and I look at everything obviously like a huge learning experience, but I lived in Derry, New Hampshire. I don't know if you're familiar with New Hampshire, and honestly, it's quite beautiful. Derry, New Hampshire is definitely not like the place for a 21-year-old that is totally kinda
No,
like a city girl.
not
But the good news was
outdoor
that
skier.
Yeah, if you skied, which I did, that was fun, but what I did
Okay.
learn was, like, very quickly, wholesalers, I had everything. So I had state stores, I had market baskets, so I had, like, chains, I had small mom and pop. So it was, really, like, thrown into the fire,
Thrown into the
work in
fire.
every
Trial
channel
by fire.
possible. Yes, and I was 21 and I didn't know anybody, so all I did was work, and they got everything they needed out of me. They were like, "Okay, yes." But honestly, it was awesome training. I still use it to this day. They're very diligent
I've
on
heard that.
their
Yeah.
training, and, I was someone that went through the system, and, honestly, I always say, I wouldn't do it again, but I wouldn't give it up for the world because it really gave me a wonderful foundation for the rest of my career in
Yeah.
beverage alcohol. So,
That's
thank
awesome.
you, Mike.
So then what happened?
So then I moved to New York and I got really sick actually. I got Lyme disease and I got it in New Hampshire, but I didn't know. And it took 2 years
Ugh.
for me to get properly diagnosed. And I went to, like, I don't know, like the same story you always hear from people that either get like Lyme disease or lupus, which is, you went to like a dozen doctors and you couldn't figure out what was going on. You were just trying to
There's
figure it
no
out.
test
And
for it?
well, there is, but back then, which was 20 years ago, they just weren't like looking out for it. It obviously was around, but it wasn't as prominent as it is now. And I just kept on going to doctors and being like, something's wrong with me, something's wrong with me. And they're like, here's some happy pills. And I'm like, no, no, it's not that. It's something else. I'll have to tell you, like, I didn't even get diagnosed by a doctor. I got diagnosed by one of my friend's dads, and I was kind of like giving her my laundry list of like all of the things that was going on. And, he's cleaning out his car. We're on the stoop and we're talking, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. No one can figure it out.
And you were really
And
young too.
I was, yeah, I was like early 20s, like just barely. And he, as cool as a cucumber, was this Italian guy. He goes, "Hey, Pat, sounds like you got Lyme disease." And I'm like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he hunts, and he would hunt a lot in, like, Montauk and so I guess, like, obviously, he was privy to, like, all of the symptoms, and I was just rattling them off left and right, and so once I got to the infectious disease doctor, I was like, "Can you test me for Lyme?" And sure enough, that's what it was. But,
Ugh.
yeah, so I actually had to stop working in the industry for about a year because I was, like, not in good shape.
No.
And once, I got through it, but I've had to have 3 joint replacements, all sorts of medication, and I'm through it, meaning, like, I just kinda live with it, and
Yeah.
I just manage it, but I had to stop working because I was working for the distributor in New Jersey, in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and I stopped, and then once I could finally kinda get back on my feet again, I really wasn't sure if I was going back in the industry, and I spent a little time in fashion, so I worked and volunteered for production companies, and I did, like, 2 seasons at the Tents in Bryant Park, and I loved it. Um and it was great, and that's kinda where my production hat started and all my career as well, which has been side by side as in the beverage industry in production because I was back of house. I loved, like, putting all of helping to put the looks together, getting the models out, timing, creative, and I really worked with some of the best for a few seasons, and I loved it, and then someone called me, I would say probably almost a year after and said, "Hey, do you wanna get back in the industry?" And she's like, "Jack Daniel's is looking for a multicultural specialist," and this is a long time ago, so, kudos to Jack Daniel's because they've been doing kind of like the multicultural
Mhm.
consumer really actively and authentically talking to them for a very long time, and so I became the market manager for Jack Daniel's in New York, and let me tell you, that was one of the best jobs I've ever had.
I bet.
I was feeling better. I don't know, I was walking in, like, 6-inch heels, like, up and down New York,
Oh
uptown,
boy.
downtown. I don't know how I was doing it. I was on the 6, like constantly just, I was whatever 23, 4, so I could do anything.
Yep.
But my first day on the job was really funny. I was in Washington Heights and I was had my, whatever I could afford at the time, but it was all new. It was like going to the first day at school. I had my cute little briefcase. I was like, "Hi, my name's Patricia. I'm here for Jack Daniel to cover the off-premise." I think I was saying it in Spanish at the time. And he's like, grabs me, literally grabs me from like the back of my jacket and pulls me down. And all you hear are like three shots outside. No lie. It like someone got shot, like someone was shooting someone outside, and he was witnessing all of this happening outside, and he just grabs me, takes me behind, like, where the register is and pulls me down, and he's like, stay down." Like, that was my first day of
Boy.
experience in alcohol sales in New York City. Yep,
Sorry
and
about
then I'm
that.
like, so then the cops come, and then I leave, like, I am shell shocked. I'm like, I
Right.
remember calling my boss and being like, "Can I go home today?" Like, and it's funny now, but it was really, really, really scary because New York has evolved, as you know. And yeah, but that was my first day on the job at Jack Daniels.
And so how long did you stay with them?
I was there for about 5 years. I loved it. We did some really cool things, like not only for the culture, for the brand, we were really doing there was a lot of like rock and español, there was a lot of art, there's a lot of great music at the time. So we aligned ourselves authentically with a lot of musicians and we sold a lot of cases and really brought the brand to life in a place where it had not previously really lived that much. That was great. And then about 5 years later, I got a call, and the call went like this. It was like, "Can I interest you in international travel and tequila?" That was literally the call, the
Travel and
first
tequila?
sentence.
Done.
And again, I was like, what, 24, 25. I was living in East Village. I didn't have a boyfriend. I had nothing tying me to New York. I loved it so much. He's like, the only kicker is that you got to move to California because, at the time, tequila was not consumed like it is now. And it
Yeah,
was
for sure.
really like California was the main lead state, and Texas, Nevada probably were the three. So everything that we were doing had to be based out of California. And plus, obviously, we needed to be close to the distillery. So I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going. So I rented this little like beach bungalow in Laguna Beach because I didn't move to LA yet because I didn't know anybody and our offices were in Corona Del Mar. And that began like honestly, it didn't really even matter where I lived, even though I really loved my little bungalow in Beach Haven because I spent probably every day except for maybe 2 weeks in the air on American Airlines launching Corralejo in 41 markets in 2 years and going
Mm,
to any and all distributor meetings. Anybody that would meet me, anybody that would talk to me, I would be right there presenting and tasting. And that was also a hell of a time. It was super fun.
yeah. So you're a executive or you're gold for life.
I'm gold for life. When I hit 1 million, I was like, where's George Clooney? Where are my balloons?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie Up in the Air?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gold for life. I'm just yeah, 2 million miles flown, blah blah. But now I'm just like, ugh, I can't fly anything else just because of like the status and
Yep.
I really like Delta, but now I'm too far gone. I'm too far in.
You're too far in.
So yeah, we worked on kind of like the rebrand of Corlejo. We launched it in the UK kind of randomly. We saw that there was just an extensive cocktail culture that was happening in London before it happened anywhere in the United States. And so we were like, let's go get some of those cocktail placements. And we made so many great friends I still have today. that were also starting out in their careers, and now, they're owners of multiple hotels.
Yeah.
And so it's been special. This business is special.
Yeah. Are you still in
My
touch with them?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you
Yep.
serious? Well, I'm trying to build business over there. Maybe you could
Yeah,
connect me
of
to
course.
some people because we have a whole big portfolio that we're trying to export. I just had a call with an importer this morning or today. He doesn't sell, but he'll import and handle all the D2C and build out all the Amazon Marketplace stuff for us.
Great. Yeah.
So we
Let's
just
get
need to
on a
get some
call.
yeah, we just need to get demand on a couple of products and just start with one container and see how it goes.
See
And
how it goes. Yep.
yeah,
I am. It was a group of us. It was like
it sounds
this
so
way,
much fun.
lab was thriving at the time. And, so many great people, individuals, operations, ops people came out of that establishment, and so many others opened up their wonderful businesses, consultancies, hotels.
That's
So
awesome.
again, it was kind of like, crystallized of a special time and place. And
Yeah.
so I traveled to London a lot, and then I remember I'm in the parking lot of a store in Laguna Beach, and my business partner called me and he said, "So we just got an offer on Corralejo." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "We're 2 years
Why
in
would you
on
do
this.
that?
We're 2 years in on this thing." It was kind of like bittersweet, because we had been working on it so hard for 2 years, and we had no intention of ever like exiting or letting it go. And poof, it just kind of happened. And we got an offer we really, he couldn't refuse. And it really set us up to expand on other brands, other categories. Yeah. And then the crash happened. And then, well, everything went away. So, yeah, no, it's been a wild ride. Honestly, if somebody would have told me when I was, talking to the recruiter at Penn State, like, this is all the things that are going to happen to you in the next 20 years, I would have told them they were nuts. Absolutely nuts.
That's so
Um,
cool.
so the brand got sold to Infinium Spirits. I think they still have it. And, at
You
the
ever buy it?
time, pardon?
Do you ever buy it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I know that, it's, like, kind of talking about one of my children or something, but, like,
Yeah.
for the price, and this is remember that, like, there was no such thing. Patron was, like, the only thing out there at the time.
Yeah.
It's, like, really for premiumness. Everybody was drinking vodka, 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 vodka,
Yeah.
vodka. Nobody was not nobody. People were drinking tequila, but not like it is now or the last 10 years. Like, it was slim pickings, right?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the quality really that we're so used to now,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
now I'm like, "I'm not drinking bad tequila, I'm sorry. I'm just not." It's like, there's no
Yeah.
reason to.
There's no reason to.
And it just gets better and better. And God, and it's something for everybody. Like, if you're in the mood for like a Highland, or it's not actually a lowland because I'm always in the mood for a Highland, but a lowland tequila, or just different characteristics of earth, and you can just really go to
Yep.
something very specific. And
Have you
it's
tried
like picking out wine.
have you tried Racia?
I haven't. So good.
When you're talking about terroir and you're talking about earthiness,
Mm,
there's only 16 areas in Mexico that you can where tequila is all over, and it has to grow wild. And it can be several different types of agave, but the main one that this company that I was talking to, Lorena, the queen.
yes.
So they arranged it with the Mexican government because she's so fun and was just passionate about
Yeah.
raicilla from her village. And they're like, fine, the tequila can be king, but raicilla needs to be queen.
That's so cool. What a cool
Yeah,
story.
and, they carve out wood devices to process it and use no electricity, and they use the hills to,
Get
like
out.
Yeah, no, it's like, so you want an earthy type of
Yes,
Raicilla de Lorena, Tangio.
you
I
got
can't
this.
pronounce it, but it's I had them on the podcast. It's a husband and wife, and they are just
That's
precious
awesome.
and so amazing, and they kind of tied it into fashion, so they've got a whole thing going on for them. But
I haven't tried it yet.
I would absolutely recommend it. It was a game changer for me to try it because it was like nothing I'd ever tried before.
Yep. I'm really, like, just a snob and about it now,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
honestly, like, because I'm still drinking, I still enjoy spirits. I'm just obviously not as often as I did in my 20s, like
Yeah.
most people. So really, I'm very particular about what it is. Even vodka. For the last 2 months, I've been drinking lots of martinis, and I'm like, where did this come from? And
You
I'm
evolve.
I'm so, but I had before. And, I really love that, you can go in and out of categories. And I was finding the best, when I first moved to Miami, like my whole goal was like, let me find the best daiquiri in this town. And oddly enough, I didn't find many of them, which is weird. I'm like, it's three ingredients. Come on. Um,
It's the
and
beach.
now it's different. Now
Yeah, for sure.
you could find great daiquiris everywhere. But, I thought I was on a mission, and I just really love the cocktail culture, and I love how creative all of the individuals, and like I said, obviously my backyard is now like the center of the universe in Miami, that like there's just so many places that are just delivering and like hit it out of the park every time. So now I know, like, okay, cool. I'm going to go out. I'm going to have a great cocktail, and that's all. And I'm
Yeah,
excited about that.
good. That's awesome.
Yeah, so then let's see, after that, I traveled all over the United States and for about a month or so, and while I was in Savannah, Georgia, also another good town, by the way, I got a call from LVMH, and they were looking for kind of like a multicultural cross, like, marketing slash, commercial, kinda a little bit of both, like commercial programming and marketing. And so I really didn't think I would be there for a decade, but I was, and, I just loved it. It was, the first 6 years was incredible, and I got to travel all over the world with them. I met so many talented, winemakers, distillers, just it was really, really cool. And I worked in LA, did a little bit of everything, chains, on, off, multicultural, general market,
That's cool.
and really just kinda honed in on, like, the commercial side of things while also executing some of the marketing programs. So that was really great. And then I ended up in Miami because we wanted to get closer to our families, and, my husband is French, and I don't for some reason, I just can't get away from the French, and
I always
so.
thought I'd marry one, but I didn't. I went to grad school in France for a year.
Oh, you did?
I've wanted to move there so bad. I just couldn't get
Ugh,
there.
it's just so beautiful. And really, like, we met in LA, but we wanted to my mom is obviously, like, on the East Coast in Philly, and his parents are in Nice, and so we wanted to just be closer because those 12, 13-hour flights from Nice are quite brutal. And, then I started working for William Grant, and I was the director of luxury, for North America. So I had a team of 7, and we managed, pretty much anything over $200 a bottle to up to $167,000, 170,000, um, and any of, limited releases, or really played in the ultra high net worth individual space,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say those are places with cellars and private everything.
private everything.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's very interesting. It's a whole nother
Completely
world.
different. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you're navigating sales still. Obviously, it's deep rooted in sales, but they're long leads. It is solely about, which I loved, uh, to me, which is two things: customer service and hospitality. And I I see it coming back, but, like, hospitality was, like, a dying breed, and I just especially within the beverage industry space, I think, like, things are, like, automated and everything looks the same or tends to look the same now because everybody's really, just trying to get their ROI, and so in this very specific space of, like, high net worth, ultra high net worth, it's another ball game, and I'm happy that I really can experience it, got to experience it. Really
Understand how it
lovely
works
to
because
see
it's
how it
not
works, how it's so
completely
different.
different than any traditional avenue, I would imagine.
It is, and some of it's the same, meaning, like, if you get to a certain mark, anything probably under 21-year-old, it's similar, but your creativity needs to be different in terms of, like, how you sell, what the programming might look like, how you speak to your customers, because your customers isn't necessary it is also, like, the venue, it is the
Yep.
five-star hotel, it is but ultimately, where you're most successful is, like, how can I think for your consumer first and then provide Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons with something that is equally authentically our brand, but also managed through you and all of your values hotel, and then delivered exceptionally to the end consumer, right? And you had to think through all those levels of like, what does that look like? How does that get entertained? How does that taste? Will it
Mhm.
taste okay? I mean, we're charging $65 for a cocktail, kind of it's another cool, fun way to be very creative and get the same outcome, which is the sale, excuse me, but it's just a different way to do it. And then there's, the usual, like, um, the privacy, the, like, you have to be, because it's another level of, they would like to be private, some of our clients, and so, there's also that, of, like, just doing things kinda, like, quietly,
Right.
quiet luxury type of thing, so,
So,
yeah.
is that something where you as a supplier make your relationships, or is there someone at the distributor in local markets that kinda manage that?
It's very individually run. So for my team, we would get, like, some leads out of the distributor sometimes. So it's not to say, like, they didn't do that at all, but really it was like your entire network where you played, me or my team, the connections they made. Again, you wore a lot of hats. You were a concierge, you were, sometimes even a babysitter, some they're like, "Here, I gotta run out." Uh, but it's just different. It's a different level of, hospitality and customer service is all I can really say.
Yeah,
But mostly it would come from us. Like, we would actively go out and try to garner new relationships and foster them.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And,
Fascinating, actually.
sometimes, like, you really it's never like this, you get the sale, you're like, "Great," like, now you're, like, embedded in people's homes or events and that's if you're good at your job, they call you first and they say, "Hey, I wanna do this. How do you think that we can integrate the brand? And I want it to be special." And honestly, it's a very specific job, and there's only a select group of people in the United States that are doing, and around the globe, to be honest, and doing it really, really well. And you probably don't know about them that much, and they work, you know,
Nope, I've been
quietly.
in the industry 20 some years and have no idea what this world is like. None whatsoever.
Yeah, it's special. Like I said, it's taken me to, like, really beautiful meetings, places, things, homes.
Yep.
Um, but you have to hold that very sacred because yes, you're there for the brand, but really you're like now very much immersed in someone's like lifestyle and livelihood. And so you
Yeah.
have to be very specific with what you do and how you do it and what information
Yep.
you share or you don't. Sometimes
Yep.
they don't mind or they're like, hey, introduce me to and
Yeah.
so it's been very cool. And then so the pair really to get us to the pair, which is I was, I've always been at the center of like marketing and sales, and I wanted to lead an agency that was at the forefront of hospitality, customer service, and beverage alcohol because I really am like holding the flag for those three things to work in tandem for commercial success. And I just saw it dwindling a little bit too much for my comfort or sadly, I think some of our agencies that we've had are great and wonderful and they could do large scale things but like really where you differentiate like great to, the best, there are these little details that are really coming from a place of hospitality, authenticity, brand DNA, and like knowing your consumer and your customers so well and mashing all those things together. And that's what I wanted to develop in a boutique agency with, the
Nice.
clients, some of the clients that I have now. And that's what I'm doing, which is
I
very cool.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That smile is
Yeah.
huge over there.
Yeah. I
You look
mean,
like you're
I
in your
think I was a
element.
little bit of both, like entrepreneur and then corporate and then, back here, and it gives me a little bit more flexibility. I've been witnessing, some high level executives and women that really like that are moms that or have, ailing parents that are a little older and in what is happening with the industry right now, I feel like those sometimes are the positions that are the first to go, but also on our end, I don't know that we want to go sometimes back fully to corporate America and want to have that option. And so um, there's so many right now, which is great for brands. So many highly skilled individuals that are out there looking for jobs. Just go get them because I don't think they'll last that long. But there's just so many talented people out there that know this, that like kind of think similar to me and have built brands, have been moving the chess pieces for decades or a decade or several decades. And those individuals really they do still want to work. And some of them don't want to go back to corporate America. And if they don't want to go back to corporate America, then I kind of look for projects in which we can do those together, depending on their skill set
Oh,
for
that's
the
really nice.
agency. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. We
That's
try.
really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great. I just had a great call yesterday with one of my closest, and I was like, "Do you wanna do this with me?" And she's like, "Hell yeah.
Not just okay. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah." She's like, "When do we start?" I was like, "Alright, I'll send you everything over tomorrow."
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's like they're all 1099s. They're not, I really am realistic. I'm not there in terms of like the whole getting all of the things together to have employees, which I think is project based is really good. And really we can just pick up where a
Yep.
brand has left off, or if they have holes because they've laid off all these people, then they're like, oh
There's
man,
that.
who's gonna do that? And like because we've been in the industry forever, um, and really understand from a commercials, perspective what needs to get done, we'll just jump in there quick and be like, okay, let me get you through this time, or maybe until you figure out what you want to do, brand or not, or or it's just it's a project base, and we do exceptional work, and then we'll be out. We'll be on to the next project.
Oh, that's really cool. It gets you exposure to a lot of things and a lot of brands.
It does.
You have a depth of experience from,
Yeah,
A to Z. Like you've done it all, so, you
I
could
definitely have.
really add a lot of value.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I think, what I think is very cool now is that I see, a lot of the medium-sized brands, they're doing really cool stuff, right? Like, when you don't have a ton of money, and even the bigger brands that sometimes do have a lot of money, but if you don't have all the resources, you get very creative very quickly. And that's where the good stuff is that I'm seeing, just in, the short time that I've had the agency is just like really great. A lot of resilience, exceptional entrepreneurs, really good brands that have like a good foundation going and they want to scale and they're doing just cool things that they're following the consumer. And I think that also was missed a little bit where sometimes you just get in your head and you're a brand and you're this brand and you're only this going this way and you forget
Yeah.
your consumer. And so um, I'm glad that that's happening and it has to be happening now because the industry is, obviously going through its challenges.
Yeah. So with that, let's shift over to any mentors. Do you have any mentors
Mentors.
that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, so I had two, and one of them was my boss for 5 years at Jack Daniels, and he was also like my boss and my brother. And God, I think I was the biggest pain in the butt for him because he would flat out tell me,
He
and
loved it.
we just I always say there's a few dream teams in your career, and I've had three dream teams in my career, which I believe is
Nice.
probably two more than what most people have, where like everybody's clicking on all cylinders, everybody has goal in mind, you're all working towards that goal together, and you're having the best time ever.
Yeah.
Um, and this was my first dream team. He was my mentor. His name's Rich. And he really taught me kind of like the brass tactics of sales, all the real hardcore math behind it, as opposed to kind of like where I thrive normally, which is like the storytelling and all of like
Right.
the romanticism. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, "We don't care about that. You gotta do this." And like, and he's like, "Here's your pricing. Here's your
Yep.
deals you can
Pricing,
make." Blah.
pricing, and deals. There you go. It's a
And
volume. It's number of
yeah,
accounts.
value. I don't care. He's like, I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna look so cool if it's shaved ice. And he's like, I don't care about that. And so he even to this day, like I talk to him now, we have kept in touch. Anything major comes up, I call him, and he really just taught me like the deep foundation of sales and numbers. And then really like the only and it's unfortunate because I really wish I had more like female mentors and just
I know.
didn't really
Yeah.
happen for me, and that sucks because I really wish there's, women that helped guide me along the way a little bit, but like it was very fleeting. But I just to kind of spin this, then I really took it upon myself to be that person for many people. And I said to when my job at William Grant, I was like, I want to be because I was, director level. I had 7 people working for me, and every week we'd have a call every Tuesday, and often I would say like, I am doing this because I have a laundry list of things that I wish someone would have done for me that no one did, and I really want to do this for you. And, I will go to the grave with that too now. I still, even now I'm not there, but I talk to them often. They're like, what do you think about this? How would you approach that? And I pick up the phone and or
Nice.
on text and we do when we get through it, right?
And then
Because I
you bill them
really
for it.
wish pardon?
And then you bill them for it. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
no, no.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
God, I wanna um one of my crazy ideas was like this like app Ask PV, which are my initials. And I wanted to like, you can ask me anything at any time. Just I'm gonna send you like a little invoice, anything.
Yeah.
It's nominal,
Can't do
$1,
anything for free.
$10. But
pack
I'm
of
not
gum.
kidding. I would probably make $1,000 in a week. People call me about everything. I mean it. It's
Oh,
very
you
funny.
should. You should have an app. Just ask the app. I'll give you
Ask
the
me
answer. It's a great idea.
anything and everything. They'll be like, I think, I don't know if I told you, I got a call. It's probably, I don't know. Yeah. So it was like 8 or 9 o'clock here. They're like, I'm in London. I'm standing on such and such a street. What bar do I go to? I'm like, huh?
My gosh. What?
But
Oh,
of course,
goodness.
I text my friend. I'm like, "Hey, my friend's at the where should she go?" And so sent them on their way.
There's these things. They're called phones.
I
They have
know, they didn't
ratings
know
on
each
those
other
phones.
though. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm the conduit, they say. But
Yeah.
that's
You're a
why my app would be so
networker?
amazing.
That would be amazing. And you
Yeah.
could actually get people to subscribe
Yeah. You
because
can
they'd
ask
want to hear
me
all this great advice.
food, hotels. Obviously, there are tons of apps and companies that do that now, but like you need like real time because no, honestly, like unless you're like really deeply a planner, like how many times have you been like, damn, I really wish I knew where to go right now,
Yes.
this second.
Yes. Happens all the time.
It happens to
Yeah, for
everybody all the
sure.
time. And like you
Yeah,
want a really good answer where you know you're gonna have a great time and eat great food.
exactly.
Somebody's gonna develop this, I'm sure, or already have.
It's yeah, it's called Paire.
It's called what?
It's called Paire. Paire.
IRE. It
Yeah,
is.
I think that's what it's called. I had them on the podcast, but they've since switched their name and you can create your own list and it was to save you know how reviews, a lot of competing restaurants will go on and give them bad reviews.
Yeah.
So this is like you build your own list of restaurants and you know you can build your own list per in each city or you can follow different people that build their own list per city so you can actually like you would build your own global whatever
Yeah.
and people could follow you and then they just know where to go. You just put all your
Right. That's
spots on
cool.
there.
And do you
Yeah,
like can you invite friends? Like what
I
happens?
think so. Yeah, I think so. I haven't been on it in a minute, but it's kind of cool because it's like oh you can create a list of things you want places you want to go, you know, or your jazz clubs or your Mexican
That's
places
very
or
cool.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
I'm
what
checking that out. We
yeah,
have
check it
that
out.
like we have that with our friend group. It's literally on WhatsApp and like it's like, a few friends where everybody trusts like their tastes and one's in New York, I'm here, the other one's in LA, the other one's in Dallas. So like obviously that's the friend group, but like, something more financially alluring would be fun and very cool. Give me money.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah, you could be an influencer.
I mean, I've been influencing for a long time. I just don't have a million followers. So
Yeah. That's
I've been
cash money
doing
right
that
there.
for so long,
Yep.
but yeah, I just haven't figured out honestly, like I'm up like in the digital space, meaning like I understand how it works. It's my job to really understand it and visually understand it too from a brand standpoint, but like just like making reels all the time,
Yeah. I know. I
definitely
do
a
it.
thing.
But that brings me to how we met,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I realized that I needed more personal touch on my like album cover, whatever you call those things for the podcast.
Creative. You're creative.
Yeah, and so I had thrown out an idea and just said, "Hey world, please help because I'm not quite there yet." And I had a lot going on and I had some images that I've used throughout different websites that I liked, and you know, images or whatever the case may be. And so you actually took the time to give me advice on what to do, and I really appreciated that because I think you helped me make it a lot better. And cleaned it up. You're like, there's too many colors, there's too many fonts. You need to do this, 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 and this, and then do whatever you want with that. And I'm like, okay, all right, we got this. So 8 versions later
I
is
am
what's out there.
glad that you took my advice, solicited or
Yeah.
not. You're probably like, because the thing is, like, if people are gonna ask, and I was like, okay, again, I'm married to a French person, as you know, so some of it's rubbed off on me on like being very blunt and being very like,
That's great.
yeah,
It didn't.
yeah.
It was helpful. It didn't hurt my feelings or anything. It
Okay,
was
good.
great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah,
I mean,
no.
I'm tactful, but it was like, this is a lot of colors. She really needs to streamline it, but this looks really nice. And so I'm glad you took my advice. And I'm
I
glad I
did.
answered, to be honest, because
Me too.
um sometimes I hesitate. Like, I usually, like, if people ask me stuff all the time, I'm just there. I'm always willing to help to a certain degree, right? Like, some stuff I'm like, no, like, people pay me to do that. So, no, I'm not going to tell you that. But, like, I really feel like we all need to help each other out. We are
Yeah.
one community. Like, I feel like there's a lot going on in life and whatever, politics, which I'm not getting into, but like, and just I feel like if as a humanity, we're just there for one another, then it will come back tenfold. And even if it doesn't, you still feel good about it, like as a person, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
that's where I am with this.
What about resources? Is there any kind of, podcasts or books or web pages that you find that have helped you throughout your career, whether it be learning branding or, you know,
Yeah.
Donald Miller's The Brand Story or whatever the case may be?
So I few resources that I love, and I know, specifically for women, I think that Women of the Vine is an exceptional group. And if you there's a lot of things that they do that's actually free. There's other stuff that you pay for. And I just feel like they hold such a great space for women in this industry that I have found. I was at the first
First
event
meeting
that they had in Napa,
in Napa, yeah.
and it's just evolved so much since that time. And I just really appreciate the space she's been holding for everyone. And and obviously all the advocates that are also very important to the group, all the male advocates that are important to the group. And so that is always a huge resource to me. And my answer to this is also a little bit unconventional per usual, which is I really where I learn is in within brand stories. And so what I do all the time is I will go down extreme rabbit holes on online videos on any of the brands that I'm interested in on how they got to where they got to. Especially the brands that have really stood the test of time,
Mhm.
brands that have been huge, failed, come back. And it could be it doesn't need to be in the beverage space. Although, obviously look at those more, but really like anything that I love, fashion, home restoration, like any of your hobbies. And I just deep dive into brands and I'm like, give me a story. I'll find someone on LinkedIn that works for them. And I'm like, can you give me some tidbits, like, I wanna know about you, and I feel like that makes you a more well-rounded marketer, and you can see things from different angles, and also not just, like, obviously what the brand's telling you on their websites, but, like, stories about the brands or stories about Ferrari or the movie about Ferrari or the stories about like right now I'm deep in automotive, but like, Porsche and how they got started or Gucci or, and again, it doesn't need to be these big brands. It can be like a little brand, a smaller brand that's up and coming because at the foundation of that story is their emotional connection to where they want the consumer to what they want the consumer to feel about them, right? And really, if you tap into that, then that's like the most important part of how your marketing can thrive and live and grow. So, yeah, it really depends. There's always online everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm too overwhelmed by it all. So I try to like make it more poignant by following one brand specifically and then go, kind of go down the rabbit holes of all the things that they provide or third parties. I really like YouTube where if I want to find out really about a brand, like I get all sorts of angles and insights from
That's awesome.
from YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, any third parties like talking about, tequilas or that always fascinates me.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about pain points? Is there anything, I mean, I know the tariffs are looming over us,
Mhm.
and there's this kind of change in our resetting of our industry. Is there anything in particular that you've been experiencing or experienced that you want to talk about?
Well, that probably requires another hour,
I know, just
but
briefly.
you gave me 7 minutes to answer. No, just kidding. I alluded to it earlier, which is because of the streamlining of so many brands. I think the individuals that have been really at the forefront of brand growth and brand building have gone away. The where maybe you get someone that's not, and I don't want to equate it just to money, but like anyone that's like over $200,000, or maybe they're up 100, making 180 because they've earned it and they've deserved it and all that. And like maybe they've put that, taken that person away, obviously because it doesn't make financial sense, because all the different reasons why you need to get rid of them. And then like somebody that maybe doesn't have that as much experience, and they're like 120, 115, 90, trying to create the same magic, I guess.
Yep.
And I think the brands suffer in the end. And I'm not just talking, I've seen it happen so much in the last year and a half, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like what is that brand? And then what happens, I think, is the brands, because they don't necessarily all want to do something to rock the boat, or they need an immediate ROI, then I feel like the emotional connection, the storytelling gets sucked out of, and then everything looks the same, and nobody's there to be like, no, let's fight for something to really have that emotional connection with your consumer, because the
Like
consumer
Poppy.
is asking for it. Pardon?
Like Poppy.
Yes, like you mean
Pretty
the
cool
drink?
brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
went in Target the other day and there's their section.
yeah, well, because now it's owned by Pepsi, but I think initially that was, honestly, they did incredible work initially to get to the right consumer, and that's, I think, a really good understanding of who your consumer is, and just going after it and going after it. But I'm mostly talking about like spirits brands, where I feel like the industry is just like, we're just gonna like carpet bomb things, and like whoever survives,
Everybody,
great.
yeah,
And
they
then
just want to be a millionaire overnight.
yeah,
They don't
and
want to
then
put in the
whoever
work.
stays, also they're doing like 5 or 6 jobs. And I think it's a detriment, and it will hurt the brands in the long run, and that's sad. That makes me
Yeah.
sad. As you couldn't tell, like I really have such a love for this industry. I have done a lot. I've seen it all. I haven't seen what's been happening in the last year. Um, and so I don't know, the brands are going to be around, they're going to thrive. And this is just kind of like a rocky road, but
Yeah.
it's been tough to witness.
Yeah. Well, can you expand a little bit on that and talk about your outlook?
Yes. The shakeup is going to be real. It's already happening. I
Yep.
think that different suppliers choosing to go to non-traditional distribution systems is really the, byproduct of frustration for a very long time. And, I've had exceptional relationships with our distributors, and, I've had not so great relationships with our distributors. And I know that they're doing what they can in a very volatile environment too. And I think that just in the next 6 to 8 months, people are brands are just going to have to do what they need to do in order for their brand to be seen and to be distributed, be sold, be talked about. And again, some of these like mid-tier brands that don't have, as many resources, they're just like, we need to make one big move, right? And we're going to put our stake in the ground and we're going to do what we can to like make it happen because we need sales. A lot of the wine brands too, the wine brands are probably needing the most help. And so my projection is that there's going to be even more shakeup. Obviously what just happened in the last 3 months of this year has been like with Tito's, Brown Forman, and
moving to Reyes, distributing in
yes,
California is what she's referring to. Yep.
yeah, moving to Reyes. But good for Reyes, man. Like,
Yeah.
you got your shot,
Do
go
it.
do it.
Make it rain.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be to make a move like that and to be bold like that one way or the other. And now I think, which is great, everyone's going to have to recalibrate and quickly.
Yep. Yep.
So
for sure.
The outlook is positive. I saw a post today and it was so specific about all the doom and gloom. I knew that when that was it, the New York Times article came out that alcohol's so bad that I don't know, causes cancer,
all the things.
And that was in January. I was like, whoo, everybody put your seatbelts on because it's going to be a crazy road. And again, all the bigger brands and all the brands, I think, come from a very responsible place and a voice of responsibility. But, it's still alcohol or low alc or whatever. So everybody's just has their say. But I think the outlook will be positive ultimately once everything really does shake out and hopefully people get rehired and
they'll just be doing something a little different. It's going to be those mid-tier brands that are going to start picking up some of these amazing talented people and really helping them accelerate.
And help them accelerate. And that's the word is accelerate and on every level, really.
Yeah.
I think the big brands can accelerate and, they're going through a time now and, they're like, what do we do? How do we shift? And they're going to need to make bold moves too. So it's everybody really. I think maybe it's a time of intense pressure to move in one direction or the other, but you got to move and move
you gotta move
with pace, with, be bold, be different, understand your consumer. So
nice. Well,
but I'm gonna optimism.
You have to go. Good.
Yeah, I do.
Optimism. Moving forward.
Let's end with optimism.
Okay, optimism is the key word, but I want to ask you 3 really fast rapid fire questions because I know you have to go pick up your daughter.
Yes.
If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
Oh gosh, a corpse reviver number 2.
I don't even know what that means.
It's an absinthe drink that was a classic. No, honestly, that's my witty answer. I would be full on, and don't judge me because I love me a slightly dirty martini. And I know that if you overshake it, it won't taste the same, but I really love the ice chips on the top.
Same. I love it. No, I love an ice cold dirty martini shaken. I make them at home for, once in a while. We love martinis here. We it's just kind of fun to do once in a while.
I just like the chips. I like watching them. And then I know it kind of gets watered down too fast, but it's okay.
Don't care. It's okay. It's pure vodka. Or gin. It's all right.
I drink vodka martinis, even though I love gin martinis. It's all, but it's everything and all. But
what's your favorite movie?
What's my favorite movie? Oh, let's see. God, there's lots. Can't Buy Me Love. I know I'm showing my age.
That's okay. What's your favorite city?
Oh, tough.
Philly and Miami?
No, there's this strip of little towns called Cinque Terre in the Italian Riviera, and all
I know that area.
Them are so special and awesome.
We were supposed to stay there and then COVID hit.
So my favorite meal of all time, out of all the places I've been in the world, was in Cinque Terre.
Really? That's
And I
awesome.
don't even think it was like a place. It was like she had a kitchen. It was on top of like, the little in Rio Maggiore. And like she's like, "What do you want?" It was like this like little old lady and her family. And again, I haven't been there in a minute, so I don't even know if it was like an actual restaurant. I just walked in and they were serving food, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna eat here."
Great. That's
Best meal of my
amazing.
life.
I feel like we could have a podcast just talking about all your travels all over the
Oh my
world.
God, I know. I was gonna write a book. It was called Life in Seat LB because that
Yeah,
was
you should.
where my seat always was for some reason on American Airlines. And I was going to talk about all
I
my
love it.
travels.
Yep, do it.
Yeah. Thank you. This was
Well,
so
I'll let you
fun.
go. It
Thank
was fun.
you.
I don't want your daughter to
I
not
know
like
my
me
daughter
before
is
I
going to be
get to
like,
meet
"Why
her.
didn't you pick me up?"
She can't be that cool, Mom.
I was like, "I have a
Come get me.
podcast. You're going to stay at aftercare." She's like, "Just don't come at 5." Well,
Okay. All right. Well, we're in the
I
clear.
got to
We're in the
go.
clear. Okay. Well, it
Thank
was
you
so
very
nice
much.
to meet you, in an in-depth way. Congratulations on such an amazing career.
Thank you.
You've really succeeded at everything, you've done, and I can't wait to see you grow with your new agency, and it sounds like you're off to a good
You.
start. So, all the best.
To you as well. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate you.
Yeah,
Like,
my
seriously,
pleasure.
please call me and we need to get in touch because I need to give you some names and stuff in
Yeah.
your blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
we can help each other out.
Please.
Okay. All right, we'll do.
Okay,
Okay.
bye. Ciao.
Bye. Produced by Fedora J Productions. Tune in next Thursday and have a great week.